And once again, we have made the call for Canada West Door Slammers to come on down to lanes 3 and 4. That is Door Slammers. Come on down lanes 3 and 4 with overflow into 5 and 6. That's Door Slammers 3 and 4 and overflow to 5 and 6. Door slammers, this is your final call to the lanes for your first qualifying hit. Winter Harbor Marina and RV Canada West Door Slammers, this is your final call to the lanes. That's 3 and 4 with overflow to 5 and 6. West Coast Pro Modifieds, you're on standby. That is West Coast Pro Modifieds. This is your standby call. Jay Siverston bringing up the JS Power Sports Dodge, going up against Howie Winklehorse. It's the first pair of qualifying for the Door Slammers. Both cars off and away. Oh boy, look out, Winklehorse all over the shot as he got towards the center line and out of the groove. He'll back out. Siverston, 7:34 to $1.90. He'll put down the benchmark time. that'll bring up Dave Warren against Mike Kenworthy. The Blue Max Bel Air from 1962 comes in here with a 632 cubic inch motor going up against Mike Kenworthy's Pontiac Firebird from 1992 with a 584 Pontiac motor for Illusion Motorsport and Speed Mart out of Arlington, Washington. Target to beat for all competitors in the Winter Harbor Marina and RV Canada West Door Slammers category is 870 or quicker. So right now, Howie Winklehorst with that wild ride on the outside, looking in as he put down a 10-second time. Off and away. Top end of the racetrack. Warren, 784, 172 miles an hour. Kenworthy, 814 at $1.66. That puts them number 2 and number 3, respectively. Brings us up the next pair. Ray Bollinger going up against Grant Howell. Bollinger running a 2017 Camaro with the 582 big block Chevy motor alongside Grant Howell. Fast Orange running the 37 Willys with a 632 cubic inch Sunset motor under the hood. Howell in his 23rd year in the Canada West Door Slammers category. Attention to the pits, attention in the pits. Pro Modifieds, come on up, lanes 5 and 6. That is West Coast Pro Modifieds. Bring them on up, lanes 5 and 6. Pro Mod, lanes 5 and 6. Howell all the way, Bollinger away. Both cars down track. Looking for number 1, Grant Howell, 765. He goes number 2 on the boards. Bollinger, 812. He'll go number 4. Bring up James Kennedy, Big Mary. Bringing up the Ken Specialty Auto, 2004 648 cubic inch big block Chevy Pontiac Grand Am to face off against Mike Bedsworth with the 632 cubic inch 1996 Oldsmobile out of Marysville, Washington. Kennedy out of Langley, British Columbia. James Kennedy, if you can get a run hooked up, could be a serious threat for the number 1 qualifying spot. Has to be at a 734 to get the job done. This one looking a good bit better. Top end of the racetrack. Kennedy, 681, 201 miles an hour. The first sub 7 second pass of the day. And the first 200 plus mile an hour pass of the day as well. He'll go to the number 1 qualifying spot. Mark Thompson brings up the Marvel Racing Studebaker with that 598 cubic inch big block Chevy motor from 1954, racing Brian Ritchie's Ritchie Racing Engines and Greenlight Auto Sales Chevelle, the 632 cubic inch machine. Mark Thompson going 743, 184 miles an hour. Brian Ritchie 782 at a $173. So for Thompson, that puts him to the number 4 spot. Safety crews are responding to something up at the top end of the racetrack, so we're going to shut things down for a little while. Henry Zacharias waiting patiently alongside Terry Langdon Davies. Situation at the top end. James Kennedy having an unfortunate lithium battery fire under his car at the top end of the racetrack. Kennedy is 100% A-OK. And we're going to be getting back to rolling here relatively quickly. Obviously, lithium battery fires, not something you can easily put out. So we had to kind of let that chill for a bit. But everything's good. Situation is fully under control. Once again, James Kennedy is okay. And we will be back to racing here before too long. In fact, should be only in a few moments. Once again, Henry Zacharias running the Zacharias Inventory Limited Corvette with that 660 cubic inch Dart motor under the hood, going up against Terry Langdon Davies with the Langdon Davies Concrete Willys, winner at the National Open in 2024 at MRP. All right, we're just about ready to fire the pair, and there we go. We got life again. Once again, Zacharias bringing up the Zacharias Inventory Limited Corvette with his 660 Dart motor going up against Terry Langdon Davies in the Langdon Davies Concrete Willys from 1941. Your current #1 qualifier stands with James Kennedy at a 681, but with that issue that he had, whether or not he can go further than that is currently in question. TLD goes 811 with a 9, 163 miles an hour. Zacharias 802 at about 78. That'll put that last pairing there 8th and 9th out of 12 right now on the qualifying charts. Auto Shelty brings up the still cruising Georgia Straight Line Collision, Next Gen here in Associated Tire and Auto Lorco Auto Parts, Outlaw Brown Quality Designs, and Rondex. 2005 Cavalier with a 598 cubic inch Sunset motor under the hood. Facing off against Paul Stretch in Mid-Island Racing Cavalier. The 638 big block Chevy motor under the hood. Was the 2022 champion, the 2023 runner-up, and the points leader. Entering competition this afternoon by about 40, ahead of Brian Ritchie. Make that just 32. Next pairing, ready to get down Broadway. Farmer Lane ready to rumble back to life. Cavaliers coming at you. And top end of the racetrack, Paul Stretch, 7:22 and a 3, 191 miles an hour, and he will go to the number 3 qualifying spot. Sheldon goes 7:44 at about 83. Otto Schulte will slot into the 6th place spot. Just 6 thou behind Mark Thompson. Bring up Carl Federley, already fully bumped in for the Federley Transportation Limited Nova. With a 582 cubic inch R. Morrison motor. Ray Bruciani for the 632 cubic inch big block Chevy Dexy Paws. B. Dialato and Bob Love. Chevy 2-door slammer. Federley, double bulbing Rusiani. Double bulbing not permitted in the door slammers category. So you had to back out and try it again. Both cars running down the racetrack. Top end. 818, 165 to an 825 at about 64. That'll put these two drivers into 14th and 15th on the qualifying charts. Bottom 2 in the show, however, we're still on the outside looking in. Andy Hampton bringing up the Grinch with a 554 big block Chevy motor under the Camaro Racing for Bubba Speed Shop, Titanium Auto Group, and Velocity Chemicals. Facing off against the TK Performance and Lorca Auto Parts 565 cubic inch Mustang Fox Body from 1989. Big issue setting in for Katnick on his run. Andy Hampton on charge. 829, 161 miles an hour. Katnick, 1134. Not enough to make the show. Bring up the next pair, Mike Lucas and Brody Shirk. Mike Lucas running for Busted Knuckle Services Limited with his 1968 Camaro, 632 cubic inches of big block Chevy motor, facing off against Brody Shirk for Titanium Auto Group and Bubba Speed Shop with 562 cubic inches of big block Chevy motor in his Chevy. Lucas on a tear, 725, 187 miles an hour, and that'll be good enough for the 4th place spot of the qualifying charts. Brody Shirk, 906 at about 53, not enough to make the show. 20 cars have now attempted to get into the field so far. Out of that 20, 17 have made it into the show, with Brody Shirk, Howie Winklehorst, and Andy Katnick having to go to Q2 to try to race their way in. Zach Joyce brings up the 48 Austin with a blown 512 cubic inch motor, trying to go to the mid-sevens. Jason, oh boy, not sure what happened there. Zach Joyce on a single, I think Field double-balled him, and Joyce fully staged before Field could back out. Joyce goes 804 to about 68. So Jason Field will bring out the Overkill Chevelle with 632 cubic inches, a big block Chevy motor for Greenland Auto Sales. And Brian Ritchie, he's trying to aim for the 6.6. Top end, 713, 189 miles an hour, still with a ways to go. Derek Shirk taking the 55 Bel Air down track, goes 771 with a 9 at 172 miles an hour. And that will put him into the number 9 qualifying spot. Only one more door slammer to go in this first hit, and it'll be that of Rod Leclerc. Rod Leclerc running the Paradise Homes 1967 Camaro, dialed in well, not dialed in yet, but running a 598 cubic inch motor. Leclerc, frequently a driver that easily punches into the top 5 and beyond. Leclerc, top end, 676, 202 miles an hour. And that'll put Rod Leclerc to the #1 spot to close out Door Slammer qualifying for Q1. So out of all of the Nitro Harleys, only one of them wanted to actually make a pass for this first qualifier hit. So it'll be Nate Gagnol making his first hit of Q1. Outlaw 275, we need you down to the staging lanes, please. Outlaw 75. Sorry, not to the staging lanes. This is your standby call. We want truck body Outlaw 275. This is your standby call. Straight down Broadway and Gagnol, 644, 211 miles an hour, the fastest and the quickest time of the afternoon to the quarter-mile mark. Q1 in the books. For the Harleys and the Door Slammers, it's time for Q1. The West Coast Pro Modifieds. Jacob Scosilas bringing up the 2017 Corvette with that 5-1-to-1 cubic inch motor popping out of the hood. Garrett Richards bringing up the RCD Engineering Shelby. Two-time WDRL champ, two-time Door Wars winner. One of those wins came after Dave Kowalski broke in the final round after his burnout earlier this year. Gary Richards going to the #1 qualifying spot. 381, 195 miles an hour puts him to the #1 spot with a benchmark time. Let's go Silas, 4:52 at a $1:51 on an aborted pass. That'll bring up the next pair. It's Dave Kowalski. It's Ryan Griffin. Kowalski took the win against Nick Duda in the Smoke Fire Thunder final on what was a wild final round for the Dayco Ventures 521 cubic inch Hemi powered Corvette from 2015 out of Fort St. John. Meanwhile, Ryan Griffin ready to rumble for the Airport Class DRG fencing 526 cubic inch Mustang out of Olympia, Washington. Chevy versus Ford, Corvette versus Mustang, sports car versus good old-fashioned muscle. So many battles ready to take shape as we continue through round 1 qualifying for the West Coast Pro Modifieds. Final adjustments complete on both cars. They're rolling forward. Ryan Griffin, 438, 130 miles an hour, puts him to the #2 spot. Dave Kowalski goes 521 at 107. Looking as though Ryan Griffin may have come to a stop at the far end of the racetrack as well. So we're going to shut things down so we can get Ryan Griffin towed off at the top end. Meanwhile, Nick Duda and Scott Blake patiently waiting underneath the Lorco Auto Parts Bridge. Duda running the Performance World 1963 Corvette with a 393 cubic inch motor under the hood, while Scott Blake brings out the 950 cubic inch Albert powered 1969 Camaro, making the trip all the way out from Red Deer, Alberta to race with us at one of the last races for the West Coast Pro Modifieds of the season. They got one more after this down south, where they'll be racing at the Streetcar Nationals. And that'll be all the way out in November. But the final race for them here at Mission Raceway Park on their 2024 campaign. So you can see up at the top end of the racetrack via MRP Lord Code TV, Ryan Griffin still stranded at the top end of the racetrack as both the vehicle crews and the safety crews go to work on getting Griffin off of the racetrack. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We're going to be calling Outlaw 275, Milron Truck Body, Outlaw 275 to lanes 3 and 4. Rocco's Diner, Limited Street, we're calling you to lanes 5 and 6. Once again, that is Outlaw 275, lanes 3 and 4, Limited Street to lanes 5 and 6. While Jerry's OK Tire, Real Street will bring it on up. Just a little ways behind them, you're on standby. So Nick Duda and Scott Blake, the next pair, ready to make a hit. Backs out Scott Blake, 376, 196 miles an hour, new #1 qualifier. It'll be Scott Blake and his Camaro. Steve Goddard brings up his 2008 Pontiac GTO to Red Deer, Alberta, racing Steve Nicholson. Nicholson sponsored this weekend well by himself. The 1963 Corvette with 959 cubic inches of motor under the hood. So Goddard and Nicholson, Corvette versus GTO, Chevy versus a Pontiac. Looking to be 7th and 8th cars down track. Battle of the Steves. A bit of a pop from Steve Goddard as he hit the top end, but he'll go 404 at $1.72. Good enough for number 3. Steve Horn brings up the JS Power Sports and SLR Rental Willys from 1941, racing against Ryan Hayward, running a good old Dodge Challenger out of Marysville, Washington for RPM Rollbar. Top 5 as they run. Scott Blake just put down the number 1 qualifier with a 376. Gary Richards to start off this first qualifying session went 381. Then into the 4s. Steve Goddard just put down a 404 to put himself number 3. Ryan Griffin 438 and Jacob Sco-Silas also in the first pass of the day went 452, and that was on the boarded run. Also boarded passes Dave Kowalski in 6th, Steve Nicholson 7th, and Nick Duda in 8th. Ryan Hayward goes 406 at 188 miles an hour. So Ryan Hayward going to the number 4 spot on the qualifying sheets with a 406, 200ths off of Steve Goddard's time, while Steve Horn will clock in with that 571 and 81 miles an hour, putting him into the number 8 spot on the sheets. Bring up Keith Korecki, the K&S Machine 1967 Shelby, running that 814 cubic inch Ford motor under the hood. Korecki through the burnout will be the last driver in the West Coast Pro Modified round 1 of qualifying. Coming out from Kelowna in British Columbia to make a hit. And I see Milron Truck Body Outlaw 275 just around the corner. And we'll be doing them after a pair of dragster passes, followed up by a little bit of radial track prep. Some final checks going underway for Keith Korecki on the starting lines. Bit of an extended one with this as he gets set to purge the nitrous. And we'll roll that Shelby forward into the beams. Well, that didn't go to plan. Car spun the wheels, wasn't having it. He'll lift out and be in on a 6-second run at 79 miles an hour. That does it for round 1 qualifying of the West Coast Pro Modifieds. We'll bring up a couple of dragsters looking to license, then roll do some more track prep. Then it's Milron Truck Body Outlaw 275. So while we have this bit of quiet on the racetrack, just want to give a reminder once again that we have a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit in the pits. There is absolutely zero reason why we should have any car going faster than 10 miles an hour. Whether you are staff, whether you are a spectator, a racer, it's all the same. 10 miles an hour. Please and thank you. Here we go, first round of qualifying for Outlaw 275. Justin Glenn brings up the Loop Research, Milron Truck Bond, BDL Auto, Edelbrock, DMW Precision, Circle D, UPR, Crown Door, Lorca Water Parts, Badass Garage, and Kathleen at Royal LePage Mustang against Neil Richards for the Cream Tree. Top end of the racetrack, a couple of great passes go into the number one spot, 428 at a $172, while Neil Richards goes 453 at 144. Two very strong passes right out of the gate. That'll roll us straight to Chris Branson with his SMC race cars. 400 cubic inch Chevrolet against Chris Gould and the CT Automotive Mustang out of Spruce Grove, Alberta. So a battle of the Chris's. One old, one new. the racetrack, Chris Branton, 463, 159 miles an hour. Gould goes 465 at 156, so they will go third and fourth. Bring on the next pair, Parm Jawanda. Run to the Jawanda Motorsports Night Shift Mustang. Facing off against Kurt Thompson. Winner of No Prep 6 and 7. Sponsored by Milron Truck Body and Horsepower Solutions. Running the 438 LSX motor underneath the 1968 Camaro. Top end of the racetrack, it'll be Parm Jawanda going 462 at 159 miles an hour. Kurt Thompson, 461 at 155. So some pretty good hits, and they'll go third and fourth on the sheets. Jeff Whitworth up next for the Precise Mechanical and K-Road Customs 1988 Ford with a 347 cubic inch Ford motor underneath the Fox body, going up against Bob Cook. Running his 1993 Ford F-150 for Milron Truck Body. Will get there first, 472, 154 miles an hour. Cook 517 at $140 for that one. So Jeff Whitworth will be 7th on the sheets, with Cook being now 8th. We'll bring out the next pair into the water box. Peter Lacanis making the hit in the Radial Flyer. Gen 3-speed JS Power Sports Nova. Going up against Manny Brooks with the Ken Specialty Auto and Diversified Metalworks Chevy Malibu with a 598 big block Chevy motor out of Camrose, Alberta. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We need Jerry's OK Tire Real Street, lanes 3 and 4. Jerry's OK Tire Real Street. Come on up, lanes 3 and 4. And we're going to have Canada West Door Slammers on standby. 141 miles an hour. Manny Brooks, 513 at 153. So here we go. Daniel Rodriguez bringing up the Boom Malibu with a 598 cubic inch big block Chevy motor. Sponsored by Milron Truck Body, Ken Specialty Auto, SD Performance, Chris McGraw Metalworks, Gibson's Race Transmissions, Color Compass, and Elite Belts. Going up against Tyler Stamler, running the Mini-Me S10 with the S10 LS motor, on point and Gen 3 speed. Tyler Stamler this weekend still has to race against Justin Gallant for the Smoke, Fire, and Thunder final that they were not able to run back in August. Down the racetrack, and Stamler gets there first. 446, 166 miles an hour. Rodriguez going 453 at 154. Puts Stamler easily to the number 2 spot, with Rodriguez down by just 1 thou on Neil Richards. So that was it for Outlaw 275. Gallant with the number 1 spot, Stamler in second. Then it's Richards, Rodriguez, and Thompson along with Jawanda for the top half of the field. Brenton, Gould, Whitworth, Lacanis, Brooks, and Cook close out the field. Very strong qualifying run. The whole field within a second of each other. Bring up some Pro Mod bikes. Steve Abusini and Rob Aston right to the rundown track. Struggling to get through the gears. Abusini going 731 at 190 miles an hour. Aston 837 at 175. That'll bring up Matt Atkinson. Made a 200 plus mile an hour pass earlier this afternoon with a 2016 Kawasaki. 729, and just shy of the 200-mile-an-hour barrier goes 198 at the top end of the racetrack. A good run from Matt Atkinson, though. That'll take us around to Limited Street. And we'll start it off with Max Nielsen, running the 281 cubic inch Mustang from 1997 against Dennis Drummond with a 325 LT motor against a 2003 Cobra out of Crossfield, Alberta for Legacy Auto Group and True North Turbos. Bit of wheel spin off the hitch, but both Mustangs get down the racetrack. Nielsen with the benchmark, 5:12 with a 7, 137 miles an hour. Drummond goes 5:37 at 128. Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. We need Jerry's OK Tire, Real Street. Come on up, lanes 3 and 4. This is your final call. Real Street, lanes 3 and 4. We're waiting for you. Come on up. Jason Gibson up next with the 91 Mustang Fox Body racing against Pat Hearn for Angry Bird Racing in his Mustang. Gibson smokes the tires off the hitch. Pat Hearn will be out on a solo, goes 5:47 at 128 miles an hour. That puts him into the number 3 spot. Gibson right now bringing up the tail. And that'll bring up Brad Thomas for Lorco Auto Parts and JB Auto Care for the 1991 Mustang out of Squamish versus Tej Sangha and the Bubble Racing 1988 Mustang coming on out from Surrey. And a second burnout for Brad Thomas. Both cars pre-staged. There we go. And after all that, Brad Thomas spins the wheels off the line. Tej Sangha going 5:51 with a 7, 131 miles an hour. Thomas going 6:35 at 132. Vanessa Richards, the next one up for the Hawaii 5.0 Mustang Fox Bonnet. For Gen 3 Speed, Precision Concepts, Kelowna Chevrolet, Western Gas, Legacy Tire and Auto, Angle Plug Racing, Lorca Auto Parts, Fast Lane Nitrous, Jim Clipperton along with Mom and Dad, racing against Matt Black in the Blazer. In the right lane, Vanessa Richards goes 5.24, and someone might want to check Matt Black's race suit with that one. He might need a change after that. You can tell he was not ready for it. Richards to the number 2 spot, while Black goes for one of the wildest rides of the day. So that will do it for limited street qualifying. An 8-car field so far. Black, Nielsen, it's Nielsen and Richards, Drummond, Hearn, Sanga, Thomas, and Gibson. That'll bring us into Real Street. Joel Smith bringing it up with the Samstrap Racing Pontiac, going up against Rob Monroe Jr. for Winter Harbor Marina and RV, Gibson Racing Transmission, SD Performance, and Horizon Paint and Auto Body, the 2024 BC Drag It winner. Joel Smith goes 10.17, 132 miles an hour. Monroe, 10.48 at 126. Smith with the benchmark time of a 10.17, but that will quickly be eclipsed here by Rob Monroe Sr. Senior sporting a 414 small block Chevy motor for the White Knuckle Racing Model A from 1931. An original body on that car. Racing against Rob Getz in his 5-liter 2024 Ford F-150 out of Kamloops. Might get away. Well, it's no match for that Monroe Power. 877, 149 miles an hour. Gets 1176 at 119. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We need door slammers. Door slammers, bring them on up. Lanes 5 and 6. Door slammers, bring them on up. Lanes 5 and 6. Richard Love running the Reflections Guest House SS Motorsports S10, going up against Ryan Ledre, top end of the racetrack. Love goes 1191, 105 miles an hour. Ledre 1163 at 114. We'll bring up Scott Kolodichuk. King third at Door Wars in this category. Second at Smoke, Fire, and Thunder. Can he get all steps of the podium this afternoon? Kolodichuk going 10:59 at 129 miles an hour. Corey Craig, the low motorcycle in the Real Street category, running the Black Lightning Spectra Motorsports Hayabusa out of Chilliwack. The only driver that could realistically mount any kind of offensive on Rob Monroe Sr. for the #1 qualifying spot. Top end of the racetrack, 8:17, he is through. So Craig with #1 out of 9 cars so far. 8:17, 164 miles an hour. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. Door slammers, this is your final call to the lanes. Door slammers, last call to the lanes. You're about to run. Door slammers, last call. So Kenworthy and Shirk will kick off the second and final qualifier of the day for Winter Harbor Marina and RV Canada West Door Slammers. The Firebird versus the Chevy. Kenworthy currently running with an 8:14, trying to improve. He will by a little. Goes 8:13 while Brody Shirk goes 8:53 to put him into the show. Brian Ritchie, top end of the racetrack, 784 to buck 72. On the show to go 744 with a 6. So Ritchie not going to improve on his time. Otto Schulte will not improve either, though he only was a thou off of his last time. Brings up Ray Rusiani for the deck seat pause. Chevy 2 going up against Andy Antle. So Ray Rusiani will race the Chevy 2 against the Chevrolet Cobalt. For Andy Antle on the far side for the Antle towing machine. Oh boy. Quick to hold him up. Antle double ball. Rusiani can't do that. Christiani down track, seeing if he can't put down a good time. He will improve his time on his position. Ansel goes 7:51, puts him into the 10th spot. Bring up Mike Bedsworth facing off against Andy Hatton. Bedsworth enters this run as the number 3 qualifier. Hatton a bit further down the order. And we're going to back him out as he got one car still on the racetrack at the top end, so obviously can't send a pair. So we're going to send the safety crews out and help to push that car off. So we refire Mike Bedsworth and Andy Hatton and are ready to send your number 3 and number 22 qualifier back down track. Top end of the racetrack. Bedsworth does not improve, neither does Andy Hatton. They will stand on their Q1 times. We'll bring up Paul Stretch will bring up Mark Thompson. Stretch currently sits 5th on the qualifying sheets with a 7:22 and a 3. Mark Thompson sits 8th with a 7:43 with a 9. Track. Top end of the racetrack. Paul Stretch, 7:21. Don't improve his time, not his position. Mark Thompson will not improve regardless. Bring him Howie Winklehorst. Winklehorst with a problem on his first run. Currently is out of the show. Trying to get into the show. He's got it. 8:29 with a 4. That'll put him in. Attention in the pits. Attention in the pits. West Coast Pro Modifieds. We need you in the lanes. West Coast Pro Modifieds. Come on up to the lanes for your second qualifier. Strong, top end of the racetrack. Davies goes 8:11. Federley 8:22. So Federley not going to improve, and neither will TLD. Bring up Mike Lucas. Current number 6 qualifier with a 7:25. Lucas charging, top end, 7:24, doesn't improve. Grant Howell, 7:71, also does not improve. Bring up now Anthony Katney for his first qualifier of the day, alongside Derek Shirk, your number 12 qualifier. Top end of the racetrack, Anthony Katnick, 8:23. He'll make the show. While Derek Shirk going 7:70 with a 9. He will improve with that time, but not on his position. Henry Zacharias, Aiden Katnick, the next pair up to make a hit. Zacharias looking to get down track and puts down his 756, 179 miles an hour. Aiden Katnick, 831 at about 62 for Henry Zacharias. That'll be a real big improvement. He'll shoot all the way up to the 11th place spot. Good run for him. Pass is also good enough to put Aiden Katnick into the show. We'll bring up Zach Joyce. We'll bring up Jason Field. Joyce currently sits 16th. Field aiming for the 6-second bracket. He set a 7:13 in Q1. Top end, Field only goes 7:26, no improvement, and Zach Joyce with an aborted run on his car. So start line crew is going to check out the racetrack after a wild slide there from Zach Joyce as he nearly put that car around and into the opposite end of the wall. So a good save from him. Tom Katnick looking like he's going to be able to make a hit now for Lord Kawada Parts and TK Performance with the 1968 Camaro with a 567 turbo motor under the hood. Katnick will be racing up against Rod Leclerc. Leclerc currently entering this session as the #1 qualifier with a 676. Katnick with a good opportunity to beat that. He was looking to run in the first round of qualifying for the West Coast Pro Modifieds, but took a look under the hood just to realize that a header gasket had expired on that car. So he spent the last while getting that fixed. So final pass of the Door Slammer qualifiers this afternoon. Katnick gunning for number 1. Leclerc trying to hold it. So far, not a lot of movement in this second qualifier from Q1 this afternoon. There's been a solid 26 cars trying to qualify. Katnick will make it 27. If he gets in, then everybody will be in the show. Pair of Camaros getting set to rumble down track. One for Paradise Homes, one for Lorco Auto Parts and TK Performance. One with the 567 turbo motor, the other with the 598 cubic inch motor. Whoa, look out. Oh, hello. Top Katnick's door just flew open as well. Running down the racetrack, powers through the tire shake, and he'll go 733 at 210. What a run despite the tire shake and the door popping open for a hot minute. Rod Leclerc will go 675. He'll also improve on the time, and Katnick good enough for the top 10. So here we go, second round of qualifying for the West Coast Pro Modifieds. Garrett Richards and Steve Horn, the first two up to bear. And we're quickly shutting them off. So, well, Tom Katnick, the wild moments continue for him. He had a header gasket expired. Earlier today, he missed Pro Mod Q1 because of it. He had his door fly open while he was on his Q2 run. And, well, his car just decided to put itself ablaze at the top end on the return road. The fire is out. Katnick is okay. So everything under control at the top end. But that is why we quite abruptly just shut off Garrett Richards and Steve Horn. Richards and Steve Horn once again ready to make a run down track. Pre-staged. Garrett Richards pre-staged. Come on, Garrett Richards fences the throttle, and meanwhile, Steve Horn puts himself in with a 4:04, 150 miles an hour. Punch that Willys to the number 4 spot. Ryan Griffin currently enters this qualifying session number 6 with a 4:38 on the sheets. That was in his Q1 time. Steve Goddard enters number 3 with a 4:04 with a 2. Only one foul in front of Steve Horn. To the number 3 spot for Ryan Griffin, and Steve Goddard improves on his time. He'll go 4:02 with a 5. Griffin just shy of the 200-mile-an-hour barrier, but a 3:93 will definitely put him onto the top 3. And now Griffin's just locked himself as a serious threat for the West Coast Outlaw Shootout. Tension in the pits, tension in the pits. We need Outlaw 275 to lanes 3 and 4, limited straight to lanes 5 and 6. That is 275, 4, limited straight to 5 and 6. Outlaw 275, 3 and 4, limited street 5 and 6. Scott Blake comes out of Red Deer, Alberta with his 1969 Chevy Camaro, running up against Nick Duda for the Performance World Chevy Corvette. Scott Blake enters this race with the #1 spot, about a half second up on Garrett Richards. Set a 376 on his first pass. Shootout right now, back of the pack with an 874. Not able to improve on his qualifying effort. Nick Duda sure will, though. 4:18 puts him in to the #7 spot for qualifying at 184 miles an hour. Steve Nicholson comes up on a single hit. Now Nicholson at the back of the pack as the 11th place qualifier. The 1963 Corvette, sponsored by himself, currently sits with a 772 from Q1. Nicholson, a local racer to the Mission area, set to try to see if he can improve. The track's getting better. He should be in for a good run. Nicholson bumping forward now that the last few preps have been completed. Get the pressure in that nitrous bottle down to where he wants it. Good run for Nicholson. 4:05 at 179 miles an hour. Punch him in to the #6 qualifying spot. And another car that had an aborted run is up and into the field big time in Q2. We'll bring up Ryan Hayward. Hayward on his first qualifying pass went 4:06. Now that was good enough for a top 5 run then, but he has since been bumped out of the top 5 and now into the bottom half of the qualifying field. And he was on a good pass earlier. So Hayward going to be having to look for something more as he's been bopped by Nicholson, Horn, and Ryan Griffin. Blows something off of that car. I think he blew the tires off, and I saw something fly off the back end of that thing as well. Ryan Hayward on a slow roll to the top end after that. Bring up Keith Korecki. Korecki now the final driver in the West Coast Pro Modifieds, and one of only 2 that is outside of the 4-second bracket. Korecki ran a 6:0, well, 6-second flat with a 6 for his first qualifying pass. So ready for another hit. It's the last Pro Mod in Q2. Gonna go for it. He does improve 524, but still at the bottom of the qualifying sheets. So we got the entire Pro Mod field within a second and a half to the 8th mile, with some real impressive times to boot. 3 cars are in the 3-second bracket. Those drivers being Scott Blake in number 1 with 376. Garrett Richards with a 381 from the number 2. Both of those drivers standing on Q1 times. Then Ryan Griffin bumping himself up from the bottom of the grid all the way into 3rd with a 393. Some licensing passes for dragsters. Then we're set for Milron Truck Body Outlaw 275. Tension in the pits, tension in the pits. Outlaw 275 and Limited Street. This is your final call for the staging lanes. Outlaw 275, Limited Street, final call to the staging lanes. We're also going to put Real Street on a standby call. Real Street, this is your standby call. So we roll into Outlaw 275 in their second round of qualifying. Justin Gallant, and Tyler Stamler facing off. Curtis hitting 1-2. Top end of the racetrack. Owen, 431 does not improve. Stamler, 439. He does improve, but only on his time, not on his positioning. Gallant stays number 1. Chris Gould going up against Parm Jawanda. The CT Automotive Mustang going up against the Night Shift Mustang for Jawanda Motorsports. Chris Gould currently comes in 8th place in qualifying. Parm Jawanda in 6th. Oh boy, Parm Jawanda left way too soon. Chris Gould and never fully staged. Jawanda spooling up the turbo. He'll launch. Oh, and he is immediately going to pop into a wheel stand, brings it back down, and he'll abort. So a messy run all around. We'll bring up Kurt Thompson. We'll bring up Chris Brenton. Thompson enters this one 5th place with a 461. Brenton down in 7th with a 463. Both racers pre-staged. Bumping into the beams. Thompson's in. Brendan's in. Both cars away. Top end of the racetrack. Chris Brendan 46. He'll improve up to a very respectable 3rd place. Kurt Thomas will also improve. He'll go to 4th. Jeff Whitworth and Dan Rodrigue going up against one another now. Whitworth goes in a 472. Dan Rodrigue comes into the 453. Doesn't leave. Whitworth is gone. Whitworth goes 460 with a 5. He'll go and improve on his position. And Rodrigue will shoot to the number 4 spot. So Rodrigue is up to 4th. And Whitworth going to improve to 7th. One more, Bob Cook. Bottom of the chart so far, one of only 3 in the 5-second bracket. He ran a 5:17. Manny Brooks went a 5:13, and Peter Lacanis a 5:03. Cook currently over half a second back from Chris Gould in 9th. Cook goes 5:09. He'll improve on his time, not on his, well, he will improve on his position at least. He'll go up to the 11th place spot. Neil Richards did a good burnout for the Cream Dream Zephyr, but unfortunately that car will die on him. They're going to push it back and try to get it refired. That used to be his street car. Of course, Neil Richards on the original Outlaw 275 Ronda. This thing was capable of running 750s out to the quarter-mile mark. This afternoon, the Mercury Zephyr going to be backed up behind the staging beams. His Q1 time was a pretty respectable one. It was a good run in a 4:53 for his Q1 time, and doesn't look like he'll be able to make a hit. Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. Real Street, Jerry's OK Tire, Real Street. Bring them on up to lanes 3 and 4. Real Street to lanes 3 and 4 for your second and last qualifier of the night. Mandy Brooks brings out the Ken Special to Diversified Metalworks Chevy Malibu with a, not dialed in, I don't know why he keeps trying to say dialed in for this, running a 598 cubic inch big block Chevy motor. Long nitrous purge for the Malibu. Now going to roll forward. And Mandy Brooks will go from a 513 to a 462 with a 5. Good enough for 9th after originally being in 12th. And one last car. Peter Lacanis. The car was popping when it came around the corner, and well, it didn't last much longer than that. So the Gen 3 Speed JS Power Sports machine, Transporters Logistics Nova with that LSX motor, currently dead at the water box. They're lifting up the hood, trying to quickly diagnose, see what's what. Peter Lacanis, currently not within the 4-second bracket. He's in the Lil Bruiser, though. His current time of 5:03 set in Q1. Lacanis, top end of the racetrack, he gets into the 4-second bracket. 482, 152 miles an hour. And shutting them down, another incident that safety crews need to tend to at the top end. We'll give you information as we receive it. But for now, your limited street pairings going to be waiting in the water box. So everything okay up at the top end of the racetrack. Safety crews are moving back into position. Dennis Drummond and Brad Thomas bringing up the pair of Mustangs. The Legacy Auto Group and True North Turbos Cobra going up against the Lorca Auto Parts and JB Auto Care Mustang. Top end of the racetrack, Brad Thomas gonna go 5:17. A solid run there for Thomas. while Dennis Drummond going to look to put himself up into a solid run at a 540. Hey, attention in the pits, attention in the pits. Justin Gallant and Tyler Stamler. We need you both, well, we need at least Justin Gallant, who took that win. We're going to be interviewing you at the end of the night if you're open for it, for that win for Smoke, Fire, and Thunder. Once again, Justin Gallant. We'll be interviewing you in the winner's circle after all the qualifying is done tonight for that win from Smoke, Fire, and Thunder and that final. Nielsen, top end of the racetrack, going 5:08. He extends his lead in the Q1 spot. Tej Sanga, meanwhile, going 5:39. He'll also improve up to 5th. Pat Hearn and Jason Gibson, the next pair up. The Angry Bird Racing Mustang going to go up against Jason Gibson and his Fox Body. So the pair of Fox Bodies ready to run down track. Gibson has not been able to get in a good hit so far all day. Struggling to get off the line. It'll be a better pass though this time. Pat Hearn, 5:41. He'll improve, and so will Jason Gibson. Goes 6:28 and improves by almost 2 seconds. Vanessa Richards bringing it back up for the Hawaii 5-0. Gen 3 Speed. Precision Concepts, Kelowna Chevrolet, Western Gas, Legacy Tire Auto, Angle Plug, Local Auto Parts, Fast Lane Racing, Jim Clipperton, and Mom and Dad for the 1989 Mustang Fox Body. Vanessa Richards has a lot to do if she wants to attack the #1 spot. Running the 5:24 for now. Can she improve to the #1 spot? 5:20, it's not enough. She'll be down by about a 1/10 and some still, but a valiant effort for Hawaii 5-0. 11.76. 187 miles an hour. Big puff of smoke from the brakes at the top end. Torrey Craig went 8.69 at 131. We rolled a real street qualifying for the final time of the night. Smith and Rob Monroe Sr. firing down track. Monroe Sr. currently stands number 2. Don't think he'll be able to really attack Torrey Craig for the number 1 spot, and he will not. Joel Smith goes 10.09. He will improve on his time, not on his position. Bring up Rob Monroe Jr. and Rob Getz. It's the class of the Robs with Jr. for the Winter Harbor Marina and RV, Gibbs Race Transmissions, ST Performance, and Horizon Paint, and Auto Body Acadian, alongside Rob Getz. The 2024 Ford F-150 is off on a charge. 10.50 for the 1, while Rob Getz going to go 11.68. Improves on his time, but again, not on his position. And that'll bring up Scott Kolodichuk. The second to last pass alongside Richard Love. Love currently bottom of the charts and qualifying with 11.91. Kolodichuk sitting 5th with a 10.59. Kolodichuk gonna go 10.35 with a 1, so he's gonna improve by a big bunch. That actually punches it past Monroe Jr. Love going to 11.98. He will not improve. Drake going to be the last real street car to qualify tonight. He'll go 11.60 with a 5. And that'll bring him just one final dragster pass, so we will call it a night. And that is going to be a wrap for the first testing day and the first qualifying night for the West Coast Outlaw Shootout. Plans still in flux for tomorrow and Sunday. We'll be making an announcement either later tonight or early tomorrow about what the run order is going to look like. For now, congratulations to all of the folks that came out today. Congrats to your Smoke Fire Thunder finalists, and we'll see you tomorrow once again at the Titanium Strip.